Well, another uneventful week, right, Lenny?
I know, it's kind of stress-free. I may as well
Kind
have
of
been in a spa.
slow. So this week did not define slow news week at all. My favorite quote was actually I think from Russ at Trust Radius, who said, the way that I'm stress eating this week, I'm going to hit 270 before either of the candidates do." That was
I
pretty
know, right?
pretty good.
So good.
We had another fun morning with our friends at the CMO First Sip Club Coffee Talk. And this morning we covered customer advocacy. We covered a wide range of topics around customer advocacy and had a couple special guests join us to kind of do a deep dive on some of their programs.
So it was an awesome topic. I left so fired up about all the things, all the ideas and things we could do. I I thought it was awesome to kick off in the East with MK from Alice. A couple things about MK. What I love is she saw the need for customer marketing. She's always been passionate about customer marketing. She Alice on leading with customer marketing and investing in that first when, typically people will invest in things like demand generation. It's worked. It's worked fabulously. She now runs all of marketing there. And she's no joke. We're all going to work for MK one day. So MK, I love you. And what I loved hearing about her program was it really centered around their brand. It was very on brand for who they are and what they do, and centered around authenticity. So I loved when she talked about the Alice All Stars.
Mm-hmm.
She showed, the cartoons that they do of the Alice All Stars, all the information about them personally, really promoting the power users of Alice and doing it in a really cool on-brand way. So that was pretty inspiring to see. And clearly it's working for them if they have the kind of referral rates that they have coming in. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, we talked also about so what things are driving advocacy with customers, and obviously happy customers successful with your product service is the foundation. And we talked about the difference between offering sort of incentives to be advocates up front versus sort of thank you recognition afterward. And I think there definitely were, I think, more examples of successful companies doing the thank yous afterward. And it was hard to even call it a reward because I think it's really more just of a recognition and a thank you for what you're doing, and it drives an authentic relationship. I thought it was interesting when Helen talked about the difference between authentic and synthetic rewards.
Yeah.
And to really think about that difference between the two, and make sure that you're creating something that, quite frankly, is authentic and natural, that feels good for both sides. And related to that, Brittany Hillard in the later session sort of really reinforced that, and has some great stories around how her team is at WalkMe is really focused on providing sort of creating a culture of gratitude for customers and what they're doing for it.
And then, Sydney Sloan coming in hot in the chat, some great nuggets on how to structure your team. Thinking about, kind of the case study type that I think she said was like a journalist / recruiting background, and really get people's stories. She talked about reference management and dropped this reference edge, which I literally want to go. If you sell for reference edge, call me. Because I literally tried to build this in Salesforce, like at our last company, and it was so difficult to maintain. So just a really powerful way to help manage that, because that's, of course, a big part of advocacy. And then last, like all these communities now, you really need kind of a community expert in customer marketing. So I appreciated her kind of sharing those best practices around some cool tech to check out, which we always love, and also the org structure.
Yeah, the reference edge kind of blew all of our minds when she just kind of like subtly name dropped that. I did a bit of research afterward, and I mean, reference edge seems to be like super well regarded. Also, a product called Crowdvocate seems to be a competitor of theirs that is, both. I mean, anything that can help you organize your references. And when I think of organization, I think not just about organizing them, but also throttling them. So you don't have people getting like a billion reference requests all at once, because even customers that love you, that can get tiring. I also, and we'll put this in the notes up on the Slack channel and elsewhere, but in both sessions, we talked about some research that Laura Ramos at Forrester did around advocate personality types. And, she kind of outlined these 4 personality types: the educators, validators, status seekers, and collaborators. And we'll put links into that so you can read more about it. But I thought it was really interesting to think, like, what is the advocate seeking? Like, what do they want out of it? How do they want to participate? And recognizing that there are different needs, and if you can match those, you're likely to get more engagement and more ROI from them.
And of course, Allison Snow, former Forrester analyst and friends with Laura, has built that into her program, which is so smart. Like, hey, we're going to have different ways that you can participate, knowing these different personality types. So I took that, I filed that away too.
Yep. Lots of discussion around tracking different scorecards people have, everything from, customer mentions in social media to NPS scores. We had someone mention that I think in Q3 of this year, like 17% of their pipeline was referral generated. I mean, you start to do the math on that. Like, that's a very material number, and you start to do the math on those that are likely birds of a feather prospects. And if it's a referral, it likely closes at a higher rate. All of a sudden, that contribution starts to really help justify putting real resources into this program.
Totally. And then Kevin also helped us out on the West talking about their program. And what's interesting is, of course, marketers come from it like, okay, advocates, case studies, references, G2 reviews. And what I love about theirs is they said, no, ours was driven around making customers more successful and helping them use the product. And so really how he's broken down the customer life cycle. And in their advocacy program, they're not just looking for a G2 review. They're also looking, how did you help another customer or contribute? Which I think is it's a really sustainable way to connect customers.
So we can't wrap this up without bringing up 2 things at least. One is broetry, right? The broems that we talked about.
I didn't know it was a thing. I learned a new word.
It's a thing. Someone even introduced the Dead Broet Society. It's a thing. It's not necessarily a good thing. We'll leave it at that. We'll put some links into the notes around that. And 2, Latney, we also had a very successful. We did our first extension of the CMO Coffee Talks this week. We did a virtual events hackathon. Your team was instrumental in pulling together the Path Factory team. Helen Baptist and her team, Cassandra and Evan, did a phenomenal job pulling together. We had 60 hackers on 4 teams, and almost 300 people that came and checked out the work that came up. And I don't want to steal the thunder. We've got some recaps coming out around that. But boy, that was fun, and it was super creative.
Learned a lot, and thank you, hackers. I mean, they really brought it. So appreciate everyone participating in that.
Yep, awesome. If you are not yet in the Coffee Talk community, if you are a marketing leader, a VP, CMO at a company, and want to spend time on Friday mornings with your kind, we'd love to have you. Send a note to Latney or myself. We'll get you an invite. We've also got a Slack channel that's over 600 marketing leaders on a daily basis, sharing, commiserating, ranting. We're doing it all, Latney, and it's been a lot of fun. So hope you can join us. Latney, it was another fun Friday morning.
Bye, guys.
Have a good weekend.